I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist in this regard. I don't think this thing was planned or anything like that. However, everyone tries to exploit it to their own best interest. As Rahm Emanuel said, never let a crisis go to waste.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're seeing just happen today with the crisis and the bailout package they're discussing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's where we are, and it's an unusual time. I have a friend who's your age, and he said to me, Jack, I've never seen anything like this. I said, I've been around a lot longer than you have, and I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
No one has ever seen anything like this. And, for our sake as a country, I hope it is. No, I don't hope it's horrible. But I would feel better about us as a nation if it were more horrible than I think it is. If it would have to be much more horrible than I think it is. But I'm a skeptic. So,
do you mean that in the sense that it would kind of bring people together because there's such suffering going on and we could find more commonality? Or why do you think that it would be, without being grim, a way to be better?
Let me just give you an example. I was just thinking about this yesterday, and this now I get to use my age. It seemed like someone who was, if not wise, at least someone who still remembers where he is.
Yeah.
We're in Kansas City today, right? Aren't we? Yeah, okay. No, I was thinking last night back to my grade school days. And I won the perfect attendance medal when I was finishing the 8th grade. We went through 8th grade. And the sister says, okay, is there anyone who's missed a day of school this year? And then one little girl raised her hand. I said, I didn't miss a day. I said, I haven't missed a day since the 5th grade. And she said, well, basically, and I started thinking about this, how did I know it was the 5th grade? How did I know when I missed the last day of school? And I just looked it up just to verify, because I could have told you, when I was thinking about this, I knew roughly right off the top of my head.
Okay.
It was October 1957. And I was sidelined with what I remembered as the Asian flu. So I Googled, just yesterday, I hadn't heard anyone talking about this. I Googled 1957 Asian flu. You could do this, anyone listening could do this right now. And it turns out we had 70,000 deaths in a nation that was half the size that it is today.
This was in the United States in 57.
70,000 American deaths in a nation with half the population.
Okay.
And why do I remember it was in October 1957? Because I was a Dodger fan. And I hated the Yankees. I lived in metropolitan New York. And although the Dodgers didn't make the World Series that year, the Yankees did. I was rooting against them. The Milwaukee Braves were playing against the Yankees. I had the good fortune of being sick during the World Series because it was broadcast and only during the daytime, right? The game was only on the daytime. So, all the teachers were suspicious of any kid who was missing
during their city's World Series.
Right, during the World Series. So but I remember, and here's something else I remember. And this is 5th grade. I didn't miss another day for the next 4 years. I had a 104-degree temperature. I remember this because we bragged among ourselves about who had the highest temperature.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So I wasn't the only kid who had it. I mean, Asian flu ran rampantly among children, right? I had a 104-degree temperature. Other kids had, I'd meet someone with 103, 103. I have 104, I didn't hear anyone who beat me that lived. You get 105 or so, you really get in trouble. And I trace it back, and I'm looking at 70,000 deaths. Let's project that forward to this population. It's 140,000 deaths.
Yeah.
Does anyone really think we're going to get anywhere close to that?
They're saying that we will.
I don't believe it.
Do you know Dan Bongino?
Yes.
He's got his Bongino report that's kind of changing and supposed to replace Drudge. Let's see, because I was looking this morning. Now, some people say that we're not there because we don't have the tests. We don't have enough tests to go around. Tests
will tell you how many people have it.
Yeah.
But the deaths are being counted.
The deaths is what you're focusing on.
We're talking, by 1957 standards, we would have to have 140,000 deaths today.
Okay.
And I will tell you that in 1957, they played the World Series. I can tell you that for sure. Right during the middle of this,
Yeah, it says right now 46,000 people in the U.S.
Have it.
Yeah, correct. Have not died. And I think we're at 100 or so deaths, give or take 100, maybe 200.
I don't know. I mean, no, actually, there was more than that. It was probably now about.
Okay, more than that.
It was 285 last week, probably about 400 or 500 now. Do you know anyone who has coronavirus?
Actually, I was about to ask you that. I'm so glad you asked me. I don't know anybody with it. Do you know anybody with it?
I don't know anyone with it. I don't know anyone who knows anyone with it.
Now, they're saying we have people here and there. Pete Mundo this morning had a caller who called in and said there's somebody in Kansas City. Okay, maybe like 10 people have tested, and I'm right there with you, though, Jack. It seems like if this was but do you know what's also strange is that like all the celebrities are getting it.
Like who? Harvey Weinstein?
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein. How did he get it?
Yeah. He's like the Rock Hudson of
How did he get
coronavirus. Here's another funny thing. I'm not odd thing, but you know what I have not seen is the headline, and you would have seen it had it been true. Minorities hit hardest by coronavirus.
That's a good point. It hasn't chosen its preferred discriminatory class yet.
So I looked up yesterday, went online, I said, coronavirus by race. I couldn't find anything. And what I find instead, stop spreading this stupid rumor that blacks are immune to coronavirus. I'm not spreading it. I'm just trying to get a handle on this.
Yeah.
And then they were, of course, these articles would scold you in advance for daring to think that there might be a disparity in the way different races are affected by different things. And they would say there is no difference in any health. Some of them would go out and say there's no difference in anything. Mm-hmm. How about sickle cell anemia?
Yeah, right.
How about Tay-Sachs disease, which affects Jews disproportionately?
Okay.
Of course, there are differences. Or if blacks are unduly affected, like say by high blood pressure, we hear about that. Mm-hmm. So I was talking to a black friend of mine this morning, and I asked her about that, and she goes, "Well, we're asking that because we're not seeing it, among her friends and people she goes to church."
I did also see on Bloomberg News. I think it was just yesterday. It said where 90 or above 90% of people infected are all senior citizens. So
Right.
again, it doesn't seem. I don't know. I think, and I mentioned to you on the way up. Tomorrow, I have my good friend who's at the Mayo Clinic, a virus researcher. He's going to come on and break down some of the science. And I want to actually get on to it goes really well into that book that you mentioned earlier. Before I do that, though, come full circle. How do you think this would help the country best if it were bad? If it were a bad issue?
We would not feel so stupid about how we've responded. We would feel like. Yes, we did the right thing. We acted intelligently.
It was justified.
Acted precautious, preemptively. If at the end of the day, there are, let's say, 10,000 deaths, and and when it sounds heartless. People want you to think you're being heartless when you say this, but to what we've done to the economy, and we'll continue to do, is that we will make it much more difficult in the future to improve our healthcare.
My name is Ryan Derks. I'm running from Missouri's 5th Congressional District, and I approve this message.